Today we talk about something we have not yet covered on the Order of Man podcast, masculine and feminine energy and how men can balance the two. My guest today, Satyen Raja, and I discuss using the understanding of energy to attract a spouse, raise your kids, and live more fully with who you are. We also talk about presence, claim, and penetration and why every man needs to learn to master these skills.
You're a man of action. You live life to the fullest. Embrace your fears and boldly chart your own path. When life knocks you down, you get back up one more time, every time. You are not easily deterred or defeated. Rugged, resilient, strong. This is your life. This is who you are. This is who you will become. At the end of the day, and after all is said and done, you can call yourself a man.
Men, what's going on today? My name is Ryan Mickler, and I am your host and the founder of Order of Men. As always, I'm glad you're here with us again today. This is the show about all things manly. So if you're trying to improve your relationship with your wife or make a career change or even just get a promotion, if you want to connect with your kids, if you're trying to find a new hobby, building a band of brothers, or any of the thousands of other things that I know have been on your mind, we have got you covered. Today, we're going to be taking things a little bit differently than we normally do. We're going to be talking about energy, and specifically, we're talking about today masculine and feminine energy and why you and me as men have to understand this and how we can use energy to our advantage. But before I get too much into the show and introduce you to my guest, I do want to let you know that we just finished up, guys, our inaugural Order of Man uprising over the weekend. We had 20 guys fly in from all over the country to my hometown in Southern Utah to learn some new skills, to gain some incredible resources on their journey to become better men. Now, I'm not going to be sharing too much, so don't worry about our next uprising for a while, but I do want to let you know that we are going to be releasing the dates for our next uprising later this week. This is going to be our spring event, and I promise you, based on the feedback that we got, we are going to be filling up quickly. I've already got a dozen or so messages on Facebook from guys who want to come to the next event, so make sure you stay tuned for that and jump on that quickly. As always, guys, I want you to know that I did put together some show notes for this show. You can find those at orderofman.com/079. And second, make sure you join our closed men's Facebook group for a deeper conversation about this show and any other topic that you want to discuss at facebook.com/groups/orderofman. Now, let me introduce my guest today. His name is Satyen Raja, and he is the founder of the Warrior Sage group of companies Ignite Passion Now, Harmony Integration Academy, the Find Yourself Journey, and the Unforgettable Challenge. Through these companies, Raja and his wife Suzanne have traveled the world helping put a dent in the divorce rate by helping couples reignite their passion, find fulfillment and accomplishment, and improve their mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being. His companies currently have over 10,000 successful grads, and as you'll hear in the interview today, he is on his way to helping thousands more. Satyen, thanks for joining me on the show today. I'm glad you're here, brother.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hey, this is going to be a kind of a different topic. I think we're going to delve a lot more into the mindset, the masculine energy, the feminine energy, and that's something that we haven't really addressed on the podcast up to date. So I'm glad that you're on the show, and I'm glad we're going to be able to have the chance to talk about this today.
This is really valuable I've found in my own personal life, Ryan, and these insights I've picked up along the way, I'm happy to share them, and I think all the good brothers out there could get some good bells ringing in their mind when they hear some of the stuff that I've picked up the hard way, you know?
Yeah, definitely. If we can learn from you the things that you've experienced the hard way, that's easier for us. So we appreciate any time we can get any of that, right?
You betcha.
So tell me a little bit about energy in the first place. I mean, when we talk about masculine energy, feminine energy, what are we talking about? And let's get a little bit more tangible with that so we can have some framework for this conversation today.
Yeah, sure. So within all of us, whether we're men, women, regardless of our sexual preference or style, we have masculine energy and feminine energy. These words have a lot of charge with them. They mean a lot of things to a lot of people. So I'll express what they mean to me, all right, from my context.
Yeah, that's great.
The masculine energy within us is that energy that's always seeking a deeper breakthrough in life, to break through obstacles, to move beyond restriction, to move beyond limitation. That masculine energy is the energy of direction, the one that can stand up and above a circumstance, look over it with objective vision rather than just emotional craziness, right? Look at it from emotional detachment, if you will. And then
sure, logic, right?
So let's say, should I take road A? Should I take road B? Should I take road C? And that part within us that can step out aside, that's the masculine energy, okay?
Makes sense. Yeah. That's more of logic. And I can even see this in the conversations I have with my wife, just where she tends to be a little bit more emotional. I tend to be a little bit more logical.
Exactly. So the masculine within us, its highest virtue, its highest value is the seeking of greater freedom. Freedom for yourself, freedom from for your family, freedom for your society, freedom for your country. So it's freedom. And ultimately, it's spiritual freedom, the freedom to be untouched, unperturbed by the things that are going on around you, to hold that calm, grounded center of being. That's the ultimate expression of the masculine, the empty, free, steady, integral, on mission feeling that we get when we're in the groove, you know?
Sure. Okay.
So that's the masculine. Now, we all have that, whether we're men or women, okay? Now, the feminine side is also something that we all have. The feminine greatest value within us is the desire for love or connection to be flowing, to be in a natural receiving and giving space, for love to amplify, to magnify, okay? So the highest feminine value is, how can we create more love? Can you understand me more? I want to be felt. I want to be heard. I want to hear you. I want to find out what's going on in your world. So the values of connection and having love flow is number one for the feminine within us. And
right. Okay.
so we have the masculine energy of direction and freedom. We have the feminine energy of reception and love, but they're not equal. Very few people are 50-50. And unfortunately, in today's society, there's a lot of ideas of pigeonholing, stereotyping, or pushing us to be one or the other. And I feel the more we try to push to be any stuck role, either the old role of the 1950s and earlier, or some type of new, interesting role, that's what gets us in trouble. And in my work, my philosophy is instead of trying to become something that we're not, how about discovering what we truly are? Let me give you a personal example, okay? In my own life, I would say I'm more 70% masculine at my core. That means I'm driven by purpose, by goals, by mission, by direction. If I'm at a party, if I'm celebrating, I love that. I enjoy that. But after a while, I'm twiddling my thumbs and I go, okay, when are we going to do something a little bit more meaningful? That's the masculine within me, okay? There's also, I would say about 30% of me is feminine, using this as my example, right? You may be different. Your brother down the road may be 90% masculine, 10% feminine. Your other friend down the street may be, 60% masculine and 40% feminine. There's no wrong or right. There's just a natural resting position. Here's the challenge. If I'm more masculine at my core, like I am, I'll give you an example. So the masculine's direction. My daughter is way more feminine. She's 19 years old. When she was growing up, before I knew about this stuff, I grow by challenge. The masculine within us grows by loving challenge. The feminine within us grows by loving praise and acknowledgement. But because I'm more geared from the masculine, I would continuously challenge my daughter and my wife.
Right, the way you might a son or something like that.
Exactly, because that's the way I'm programmed, right? That's my hardwiring. But that was backfiring because it may grow their masculine side and they may get tougher and stronger and so forth, but I'm crushing their feminine because I wasn't giving it enough praise, acknowledgement, and tenderness and love.
So what is the downside of this? I mean, you're talking about trying to fit people into holes where they may not necessarily belong and pigeonhole them into that. What is the downside of that individually and even collectively as a society?
Well, I'll give you the other example with my son, right, who's 17. If I challenge him, it's good. But if I over-challenge him and I'm only 100% challenged, like Full Metal Jacket, that movie, right, where it's constant, challenge. You can break someone down. You can break yourself. I think what the downside is, us as men, we need to find out where our natural resting position is and nurture that. So pragmatically, that means 70% of the time I'm on mission, 30% of the time I'm chilling, I'm relaxing, I'm smelling the roses, I'm enjoying my wife, my family time, I'm rejuvenating myself, I'm nurturing my feminine. But if I overly nurture my feminine and only nurture my feminine, I'll end up being a flow, just like a new age flowster, going nowhere, having no direction, no goals. sort of lost in life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's the detriment. So if we go to either extreme, or we go to the extreme of the other side of masculine, okay, go get it, balls to the wall, break the rules, take prisoners, no prisoners, all of that stuff, right? There's power in that, but there's also a detriment. And the detriment is the balancing force. Somewhere down the road, it's going to hit you. Burnout, divorce, your kids are going to hate you or whatever because you were extreme. I feel
interesting.
I feel the value is knowing our true north center and then playing that out to its fullest.
How do you determine this for yourself? I mean, is it a series of just understanding yourself, talking with yourself, meditation, or what does this actually look like to determine? You talk about 70 and 30%. What does that look like?
Okay, so let me give you some ways that we all can check in with ourselves, okay? If we're looking at movies throughout a year, okay, you look at we're to track the movies you watch throughout the year. I like movies having to do with adventure, challenge, one man against an army. There's a mountain. Let's see if we can conquer it. Any movies that have to do with unsurmountable challenges, James Bond movies, things like that, Mission Impossible, those type of movies, those type of thrillers, action, you name it. That's always about breaking through an obstacle. Sports movies, sports itself. You've got, let's say football, you've got an opposite side of a team. They're trying to stop you from getting a ball through the other side, right?
Right. This is a test. Exactly.
Exactly. A test, a challenge. Any movies that are aligned with it. If I'm watching 7 out of 10 movies, because, that's what happens to me. That's my number, 7 out of 10. I'm watching those type of movies. 3 times out of 10, I'll sit down and I'll watch a romantic movie with my wife because I like those too. But if I only watch those, or I'm watching those 70% of the time, I wouldn't even be sitting there. I'd be bored. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, so that's one way to take a look. If you're watching movies, and 80% of them are love stories. They have to do with connection. They have to do with love. Conquer, will love win or will love die? Does he love me? He loves me not. Those are feminine-oriented movies. And we just have to find our truth. So if the reality is you like 50-50, then you're right in the middle. That's your real. It has nothing to do whether you're straight or homosexual or bisexual. That's a different topic altogether, okay?
Okay.
This is simply having to do with the energetic of challenge versus acknowledgement, freedom versus love.
So why do we try to manipulate this then? Because I imagine if somebody figures out that maybe they're like you, 70-30, they may have a tendency or desire to say, well, no, I'm 90-10 or I'm 10-0. You know what I mean? So why do we manipulate this?
Because society's screwed, man. Because we've got all these weird imprints, right? For years, we had the first stage, what I call the masculine first stage imprint, first level. Old school, I'm macho, whatever, I'm a tough guy, right? What I say goes, it's the old school, Archie Bunker type mindset, okay? That attracts the old school feminine style of, I can't do anything without you. Please stay with me. I'm no one without you, right? That's codependency. Right. So we need to move beyond codependency into the next level, which is independence. And independence is the feeling of, you know what, we're equal. I love you. We love each other, but we don't need each other. But that still has a limit. The next level is what I consider interdependence, where the masculine has, so let me backtrack. The masculine in the first stage is a lot of spine, a lot of gusto, a lot of macho, but very little heart, very little consciousness and love, right?
Sure.
The second stage masculine's got a lot more heart, more connected, more open, more loving, more flowing, but they've lost their mission, their purpose, their balls, and their direction in life. They have no where they're going. They don't know what to do. Challenge would buckle them. This is what I'm proposing, is that we cultivate our spine and our heart to become a modern conscious warrior sage, a man of principle, a man of depth, a man of love, a man of clarity, all of it,
How do we do that if we have a tendency to be more of the warrior-like versus more of that I don't know the right term, but the feeling, or this person who may be directionless, like you say? How do you cultivate that?
Well, if you're more in your feminine, and a lot of us guys have been beaten down, we haven't had an opportunity to grow our masculine. Because let's say, for example, when we were young, okay, as an example, let's say a youngster, and every time we try to make a decision or move towards a direction, our parents always said, don't do that, you'll get hurt, don't do that, you'll get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to overly coddle us or protect us for good reason, right? The feminine wants to see us get strong and survive.
Of course. Our intentions are good in that situation, even though the outcome may not be.
Exactly, all right? So, but what that does is it atrophies our masculine direction. We never got to grow the muscle of choosing our own path, our own way, and come what may, the lessons that come along with making our own decisions, right? Some of them are going to be bad and some of them are going to be good. That part in a lot of us men has been atrophied. It hasn't been cultivated. It hasn't been connected to our heart. And therefore, when we try to cultivate our masculine, we tend to go into this extreme macho-ness and lose this inner equilibrium. The wisdom is to recognize that the masculine and feminine is within all of us. Both are good, both are valid, both are beautiful, and we just have to come to our natural resting place. Look, here's another way to check out. Where are you more masculine, more feminine, okay? At your core, or more in the center. In your sexual fantasies, you got to take a look at, do I enjoy in my sexual fantasies being the one who is the more claiming, the more dominant, the more, hey, you're mine, I love you, the more of the one who's the devourer, the one who's the Casanova, the one who's the one claiming that experience, okay?
Okay, right.
The feminine side within us is the one that loves to receive. Take me, I'm yours. Do with me what you wish. Obviously connected, right? I'm not talking abusive relationships. I'm talking about where there's love and trust and affection and affinity, right? By knowing that these energies are within us, like myself, like I said, I like to be the one who takes, not takes as in ownership, but that feeling of you're mine, beloved, pinning up my lover against the wall, my beloved, and making out with her or surprising her that way. Now, don't get me wrong. I love when she does the same, but if she did it all the time, it wouldn't be a turn on.
Yeah, it would be turned off for you. I get that.
Yeah, I like it once in a while, and I like being more the one doing that. And her too, she likes that as well. She likes jumping on me, grabbing me when I come home, but she doesn't like doing it all the time. More so, she likes being the one being taken, being followed, being cooed and loved on,
You like it 30% of the time, right?
Exactly. Now I'm using rough numbers, but you get that.
I know. Yeah. So how does this apply then when finding a spouse, finding a partner, finding a mate? Are you naturally going to attract somebody who's opposite of you? What does this look like?
Yeah, so you're going to naturally attract someone who's the reciprocal energy. So if I'm 70-30, 70 masculine, 30 feminine, I'm going to attract a partner who's 70 feminine and 30 masculine. You always attract your reciprocal in consciousness. And you got to know that, and know that you can't use the same methodology of motivation, the same mindset of motivation to motivate your partner or to support them. You got to flip into the other side. So for example, I've learned that I need to use far more praise, acknowledgement, tenderness, connection, eye contact, loving touch, still within my strength of being a man, but offer that as a gift, not as a weakness in me, but offer my strength of tenderness, my strength of connection, my strength of feeling, you know what, I'm here, I'm right by your side, I'm a rock. There's nowhere you don't have to worry about anything. That's a gift that we get to give. And when we do that, it evokes in our partner her dropping into her feminine more. And when she drops into her feminine more, because she feels she can trust your masculine direction and steadiness of being and presence, man, it opens up her sexual energy. It opens up her heart. It opens up her desires. It opens up her devotion and her dedication to you and your mission.
Interesting. Yeah, this is actually something we talk a lot about through the work we're doing with Order of Man, is that you have to step into that masculine role and you have to be fully yourself in order for you to allow in order for somebody else to be fully themselves. So this makes perfect sense.
Exactly. And then you're more trustable. So that's in relationship. But when you own this masculine side within yourself, listen, the same thing that women find sexy, which is presence, is the same thing that other men find trustable, which is steady presence. If you're going to a business meeting, you're going to some type of position where you're in a position of influence, whether you're influencing your kids or influencing someone in your work life or business life. Well, if your eyes are all over the place, if you're jittery, you're shifting around, you can't keep gaze, you don't feel good about yourself and your body and your strength and your integrity, it's felt. It may not be consciously picked up right away, but the unconscious mind of the individual will, and you'll get less dollars, less pay, less opportunities. You'll push them away because you're not grounded in your masculine.
And then just a quick break to tell you about our elite mastermind, the Iron Council. We are really starting to take off with the group. In fact, we had 8 guys sign up over the last weekend, and these guys are seeing some incredible results in their lives. A few of them have started new businesses. Some of the guys are building the confidence that they've always wanted. They're reconnecting with their wife and kids. They're learning to be better communicators, and of course, so much more. The thing that separates these men, though, from the rest is that they're doers. And as much as I can lay the foundation inside of the Iron Council, each of these guys is putting in the work. You'll be teamed up in a battle team. You'll receive weekly assignments, daily challenges, and up to 2 virtual calls per week to discuss what it will take for you to be a better man. So head to orderofman.com/Iron Council right after this podcast to join us. Now let's get back to my conversation with Sachin. Now, is this something, I'm going to just jump real quick back to the partner conversation. Is this something you even have to consciously think about, or is this going to happen naturally?
At first, you got to think about it like any game. I look at it as a game, okay? I don't look at it as like something to take too seriously. I look at it more as a game. So there's ways of growing our masculine energy. And that masculine energy grows through different ways, through loving challenge. Number one thing, I know you've got this order of man. I really advocate every single man be on it. Anyone who's not on it, get on it. And anyone who's in it, stay in it. Because I found that the number one thing that I can do to keep myself chiseled, to keep my pencil sharp, my sword at its most cleanest and sharp, is by being with other men of character. Other men of character who are all going somewhere with a collective intention. That's the best way to keep our masculine healthy, growing, and of service to our lives, our families, and to society.
How do you share this with a spouse? Because I imagine somebody who's listening to this is very focused on self-improvement, being aware, wanting to get better, wanting to be more of a man. That's why they're here. And so they'll take advice and they'll say, I get this. I understand this. I'm willing to work on these things, even though I may not be perfect. But how do I get a spouse on board? How do I let my wife know what I need out of the relationship?
The old adage is that you got to always start on yourself is very true in this one, right? So can I lay out a dynamic that I feel if I express it to you, all the guys are going to get this even more powerfully, and then actually how to utilize this in real life?
Oh, yeah, of course. That's what we want.
Okay, so I have this thing what I call the PCP muscle, the masculine muscle that is most underflexed. And here's an opportunity to flex it and to strengthen it. It's called the PCP muscle. The first P stands for presence. Presence is that piece in us. Now, your posts, when I'm reading them, there's deep presence. When you're in your videos, and I've seen you post your videos, you're right there. You're not looking elsewhere. You're full of tension, your heart. You have a message to deliver. You're not distracted. So presence is that feeling of you're right there with your lover. You're right there with your children. You're right there with your work. You're right there with your mission, whatever that is. Even if it's trying to find your mission, you're right there with it. Your eyes are open. You're in deep connection. You're not wavering in any way. You're vulnerable, yet you're grounded in your body. That's presence.
Okay.
So presence is the undistractable, unperturbable center of being. We need to cultivate our ability to stand with our ladies, with our partners, our families, without getting distracted. Even if it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, full Zen mastery, martial art focus, where there's nothing else in the universe except them. That is a huge gift that we can give to our feminine partners and the world at large. Presence, okay?
Before we get to the next one, I want to talk just real briefly on how maybe we can articulate some of that, how we can develop, because you're talking about muscle, so you're talking about growth and how we can do some of that in our own lives.
Exactly. So a way you can do this, you said, well, how can I bring this to my partner, right? Go tonight bring her close to you before you hug and kiss her and say hello, or before you go off to work, as an example, in the morning. Take a minute and hold her close to your body. Let your arms go around her and look her deep in the eyes without any words. See the part in her that is already full of love. She may be in a tense mode. She may be moody. She may be in a good mood, but who knows, right? The idea is it doesn't matter what mood she is. You go in with deep, steady presence, make eye contact, stay there in silence, convey the message that I am here, hook or crook. I love you solidly. I'm going nowhere. I'm here to raise our mission, to take us even higher to life, purpose, God, truth, whatever moves you. You can convey this without words. You can convey it through the steadiness of your gaze, your smile, your connection, and how you touch. That's one thing that I advocate with all men, is take a moment to do that with your kids, your family. Show them who you are by steady, strong, relaxed gaze.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I'm sure maybe not this exact scenario because it would be a little awkward, but I'm sure you can use the same concept of presence, whether you're in a sales meeting with a client or even potentially in a confrontation or any situation that you find yourself in. Am I right?
Exactly. Presence means being fully there rather than somewhere else. It's an ancient Zen principle that you got to put 100% into everything you do in every moment. So if you're in vacation mode, do vacation mode. Stop thinking about work. When you come back from work and you're home, cut off all the other work stuff and give your presence to your family, to your health, to your well-being. When you're in work mode, give your presence fully there without distraction. That's what makes us masters. What makes us neurotic and crazy and full of frustration is when we're at work, we're thinking about being with our family. When we're with our family, we're thinking about work that can't shut off. This
is when guys get overstressed and overworked, and they typically end up, in my mind and what I've seen is, and even in my personal life, just exploding and unleashing. And it's usually on the people that we love the most.
Exactly.
Well, let's move to the next one then. You talk, so PCP, so we've got presence.
Okay, the next one is claim. CLAIM, claim. Claim is, what do you stand for? What do you stand besides? What do you stand behind? Where do you make a stand? And obviously in a love relationship, it's beloved, I love you. You're mine. You're next to me. We are here together. When your feminine partner feels that you have this claim, not ownership, it's the claim of resoluteness, the claim of sureness, being steady. She's not thinking every week that, oh my God, is he going to be there? Is he not going to be there? Is he faltering? She should feel, as well as your children, if you have kids, or your purpose, your mission. Claim is that feeling of, this is here for me. I'm here to claim my life. I'm here to claim my gifts. I'm here to bring my gifts to the world. And I'm not going to make any excuses to anyone. I'm going to fulfill my claim on this planet. It's the type of boldness that's birthed in our humility and in our gifts.
How does somebody define what it is they're trying to claim and then articulate that as well in their everyday engagements?
One of the things that you can ask yourself is, what do I stand for? Who will I live for? Who will I die for? Another way to look at claim is asking yourself the simple question, what must I do today to love, to live, and to die completely without regret? Without regret. What must I do today to love fully, to live fully, to die completely without regret? That, if you really ask that question with humbleness, with openness, and you really do what comes up from inside of you, like actually live from that place, your claim will be so strong that people are going to start respecting you to a whole other level, and opportunities are going to come at a whole other level, because you're radiating this transmission of someone who's in their body. They're not in their head. They're not daydreamers. It's someone I could trust. So claim is someone who's willing to go out and get what is rightfully theirs and to earn it, and not to beg for it or hope for it, but to earn it through their actions, through their steps, through their conviction in life.
This almost sounds like to me, and we haven't gotten to the last component of this, but based on what you're talking about up to this point, it sounds a lot like somebody who might have quote unquote the X factor or the thing you just can't put your finger on. Is that accurate? Is that wrong?
The X factor is all three of these combined. When you got the PCP muscle firing full on, all fibers, man, it's like you become unstoppable, but not in a crazy way. You become unstoppable by taking less steps. You become like Archimedes, where with a lever you can move the earth.
And it almost seems like this can't be fabricated. This can't be faked. And I imagine, and just thinking about this in my own life, is I can see when men are trying to fabricate or fake this PCP muscle that you're talking about.
Well, look, I do martial arts. So learning anything at the beginning, there's also always going to be a bit of exaggeration time at the beginning, or where you're going to be a little stiff with a new learning or practicing something and you're not going to be fluid and depth with it. Give yourself that space to just take this in and to grow. You don't have to be perfect. This is a journey. It's a cultivation. It's not a destination. It's not an arrival, okay?
Good. And then what do you got for the last one?
So PCP, the last one stands for penetration. Obviously, there's the sexual connotation there.
Of course.
And penetration is also another way of saying execution. You just can't have presence, and you can't just say, okay, I'm here. You can't just claim, hey, I'm going to do this. Penetration, execution is doing it. Getting off your ass and activating, actualizing whatever goals, intentions, actions that need to be done on a daily basis to attain your biggest goals. So penetration is your willingness to take your gift and actually apply it and make it happen in the world. Now, when in terms of partnership and relationship, penetration is that feeling that I'm already inside my lover, my beloved. Rather than trying to get into her pants or get inside of her, it's that feeling that, a lot of women, feminine people, they can't stand the feeling of this slimy, always trying to get into their pants energy. But if you already feel like you are already inside of her, your eyes, your soul, your body, your cock, your being, truly already making love with her, already merged with her. This is the spiritual dimension of connection. This is where this goes into the subtle dimension where you got to feel like you're breathing her. You are your lover's lungs. So every time you're breathing in, you're filling up your lover's lungs, her belly. You're being the resuscitation. You're becoming sensitive and aware and totally tuned in to her psyche, her emotions, her feelings. What's it feel like to be inside of her heart? What's it feel like to be inside of her body? Having that willingness to penetrate with your subtle awareness, your perception, your intuition, this is profound. And it turns the feminine on like crazy to feel like you are already in them psychologically, spiritually, with love from the heart.
So does this have connotations, though, outside of sexual connotations or even romantic relationships as well?
Exactly. So sexual and romantic penetration is that feeling of being dialed into what someone's heart is feeling. Many times in life, it's hard to feel what other people are feeling. So the practice of penetration is softening the front surface of your body. If you can imagine the top athletes, let's say like a Michael Jordan or some athlete, okay? When they're on a field, they're not myopic. They're not looking at one person at a time. They expand their peripheral vision, right? And they can see many things going on with their subtle awareness. This is what you got to turn on. You got to expand your peripheral vision. You got to soften the front surface of your body, especially around your jaws, your throat, your chest, your belly, and then allow that place to be soft. And like a Tai Chi master is really feeling into the space, or a fisherman is feeling the air and the scent of the air and the water and the wind and the flows. You're tuning into a higher level of awareness of that things around you. So penetration, in terms of purpose and life value, is the willingness to act in spite of fear, and to move forward in life and to take the actions that are going to bring back results, not just the daydreaming.
How do you reconcile the process of penetration, like you're talking about, softening in the jaw and those type of things? How do you reconcile that with the idea of presence and wanting to be maybe even just physically present in a situation?
In martial arts, we have this idea of yin and yang. And when we bring both together, the masculine and the feminine. So in presence, you're right there. Presence says, beloved, I'm here. Claim says, beloved, I'm right next to you, with you, and we're going in that direction together for our better good. And penetration is, honey, you got nothing to worry about. I'm already in you. We're already so close together. We've become one. You've got nothing to worry about. That's the demeanor. It's a demeanor, a type of mindset you're going into everything that you do.
Interesting. And so how do you continue to cultivate this muscle? I mean, because somebody's going to listen to this and they're going to say, hey, this is great. I really get what Satyen is saying, and I'm trying to practice this, and I'm going to do it tomorrow, and I'm going to do it the next day, and then I'm going to forget, and then it's going to become a distant memory. Are there any tactical type strategies, I guess you'd say, for lack of a better term, that we can implement on a daily basis to make sure that we're continuing to cultivate this muscle?
Exactly. Well, we've simplified it, first of all, by calling it the PCP muscle, the presence, claim, penetration muscle. So you only got 3 things to worry about, right? Three things to juggle. And what I like to do every single morning, afternoon and evening, is I like to do a 3-minute meditation. So in the first minute, I just stand. I don't do this sitting. I do this standing or walking. I get active, okay? And I just enter let's say before I meet my wife, okay? Let's say I brush my teeth and blah, blah, blah. I get ready and whatever, and I'm about to go to work. I'll take 1 minute to get totally present. I shut the rest of the world off, and I say, I am here, world. I am here. I'm here. And it's like that sense of you're not elsewhere. You're not yesterday. You're not 2 weeks ago in your mind. You're not 2 months from now what will happen about some other topic in your life that's going on that you're worried about. I'm here now. So that's my first 1 minute of meditation, okay? It's the I am here meditation. I just say that. I'm present. Number 2, with claim, I go, what I claim today is. For me today, what I claim today is my wisdom. Choose one thing you're going to claim today and claim it. I claim today my wife. I claim today my sovereignty. I claim today my autonomy. I claim today my self-worth. You got to say what you claim. And then the last piece is penetration. You got to find out where's one area that you've been holding back, pensive, a little nervous, you haven't entered in fully. It could be a conversation that you need to have. It could be a job that you need to make new rules around. It could be having a sit down and chat with your son about something that that needs to be handled in the house. And find out where you are holding back a little in life, and then say, okay, I'm going to penetrate this area. I'm going to move forward in it. I'm going to execute. So the first minute is, number 1, I'm here. Presence. Number 2, this is what I claim. And number 3, what I move forward in today is. I do that at least twice a day, morning, and then sometimes I'll do it in the afternoon, but I do it definitely in the morning and in the evening. It builds, Ryan. It gets stronger. And that PCP muscle, you may not realize it, but you do this every day, that this presence, claim, penetration exercise, reminder to yourself, galvanize. It's considered a mental emotional workout for 3 minutes. Obviously you can go longer, but you will have such a far greater vibe. You'll be like emanating this true man, this true warrior, this true wisdom, person of wisdom, this iron energy that you speak about, right? You'll be emanating it, and it's going to get stronger every week. And what's paradoxical about this, after a while, you won't give a shit about it. You'll just do it naturally, and you won't do it to get attention. You won't do it to get further on in life. You'll do it because you just do it because it feels good.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, Satyen, I know we're just scratching the surface on what we can talk about. And this has actually been a very fascinating discussion. Again, something that we haven't talked a whole lot about, but we are winding down on time. I want to ask you a couple additional questions as we do. And the first one, and I think we've talked a lot about this at this point already, but maybe to put a cap on it, is what does it mean to be a man?
I'm going to come back to that original question I said. To me, what it means to be a man is asking oneself the question, what must I do today to love fully? Who must I love? You know, myself, my wife, my children, my country, who knows? Who must I love? What must I do today to love, to live, and to die fully and completely without regret? To me, asking that question and living the answer that comes up from within your soul, that's what it means to be a man.
Powerful stuff. So somebody's listening to this, they want to connect with you, they want to know more about the work that you're doing and dive a little bit deeper into this stuff. How do we connect with you?
You can go to my website. It's warriorsage.com, WARRIORSAGE, warriorsage.com. I've got a really kick-ass community of people who are leaders and trainers and helpers, people in the helping world, and folks who just want to grow physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So just sign up there. You'll be invited to our private community, and I'll find out all the workings that I have got going on, right?
Awesome. Perfect. We'll make sure we link that up in the show notes so all the guys can check that out. Satya, and I appreciate you. I appreciate the work that you're doing and the conversation that you had with us today. I know this is going to help, again, a lot of guys with some of this stuff, understanding their masculine and their feminine energy. So again, I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thanks, Ryan, and thanks, guys, for listening. And, you may want to listen to this again and take some notes, some pointers, and then live it. And when you live this PCP muscle, just even one day, it's going to catch on fire for you, okay?
There you have it, man. Satya and Raja teaching us the power of both the masculine and the feminine energy. I really encourage you to connect with him. Drop him a line on Twitter and make sure to tag @OrderOfMan, and we'll be able to connect with you there. In the meantime, make sure you go learn about our elite mastermind, the Iron Council. It is comprised of over 125 men, all working to be the very best versions of themselves, and they're committed to helping each other succeed. This month, we're reading The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday, and we're focused on the topic of being a man of value. So you can check out the details for that at orderofman.com/Iron Council. Guys, I look forward to talking to you on Friday, but until then, take action and become the man you were meant to be.
Thank you for listening to the Order of Man podcast. If you're ready to take charge of your life and be more of the man you were meant to be, we invite you to join the Order at orderofman.com.